What's up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of Go Talk with Marcus, presented by the Give Us a Shot Network. There's a slight change of plans tonight. Joining the show is JT, one half of the crew at JT and the Don, and we have a stacked show today. Kyrie wants LeBron to go to Dallas. Adam Silver has hinted at two new things that could come as soon as next season for the NBA, and JT's Heat are hosting the Denver Nuggets tomorrow night for Game 3 of the NBA Finals, which we all know is the only reason why he wanted to come on the show tonight. But it's okay. All that and so much more next on Go Talk with Marcus.
Give them a shot to do what?
JT, what's up, man? How you doing?
No, you just can't talk to me after you gave me that intro. First of all, I came on this show because you asked me. You asked me in advance, and I made a lot of adjustments in my schedule to come join you. You see, this is why children aren't appreciative, man. And second of all, it has nothing to do with the Heat. Their greatness just happens to be, a bonus.
Actually, it wasn't 3 days. It was yesterday at noon, but still, whatever. Point is, I asked you in advance, and you didn't get back to me till the day of, which is very on brand.
What did I tell you though? What did I tell you?
You were a game time decision. Which
now you know what that means. Now you know what GTD means. You too young. You too young. First of all, you too young to know what GTD means. For y'all watching, this the oldest 21-year-old I know. He should not know what GTD means. He should not know what that means. You are a child. You should not be saying those type of things.
I don't say. Look, like I said, the less you know, the better. Anyway, let's jump into what is, I think, is it interesting? Yes. Does it hold much weight? No, because it's not even realistic. But there were reports that Kyrie Irving, who was traded to the Dallas Mavericks last season and is a free agent, wants his former teammate LeBron James to be traded to the Dallas Mavericks. JT, what do you make of Kyrie wanting this and this whole potential reuniting of LeBron and Kyrie?
So much to unpack here. See, that's why I wish Don was on here, because he knows exactly what I'd tell him. This is the mistake that Dallas made by trading for Kyrie in the first place, because essentially you ruined the possibility of Luka being there long term. Now there's rumors that he might end up with the Jazz, like other teams are watching him, but strictly for Kyrie, LeBron, I think all he's trying to do is just make it known that, hey, like, if I don't get to the Lakers, it's because of the Mavericks. Like, this is where I want to go. I want to go anywhere LeBron's playing. So whether he's coming to play with me or I'm going to where he is, that's where I want to be. Because you remember the Mavs the report came out that they were not going to assist him in getting, him traded to where he wants to go. Because I feel like the places that he would want to go would mean they'd have to, make some decisions about Luka. I don't think Dallas is ready to do that for Kyrie. But I just think it's just him getting, his view of, where he wants to go, getting that out in the public and letting people know, like, hey, like, I want to be with LeBron. So all parties involved, it's up to you to make it happen.
I think that's fair, but Kyrie Irving's a free agent. Like, if he wants to go play with LeBron, he can go do that. Like, he doesn't necessarily need the Dallas Mavericks to facilitate that. Like, what he needs is for the Los Angeles Lakers to free up enough cap space for him to go to LA. Like, that's really what this boils down to. And if I'm Luka Doncic and I'm hearing that Kyrie Irving wants LeBron to come to Dallas, I don't want that. Like, and I know that Luka has a lot of respect for LeBron, and I know that Luka looks up to LeBron, but like, this was the Luka Doncic show before Kyrie got there, and they were doing relatively okay before he got there, right? Like, they're coming off a season, they went to the West Conference Finals. They were tied for the 4th or 5th seed in the West before the Kyrie trade, and it wasn't until Kyrie got there that they all fell apart and they ended up sitting at home missing the playoffs. Like, this is, if you are Kyrie Irving, we have gotten to the point with Kyrie Irving where, is he still a talented basketball player? Yes. Is he still good for 20 or 25 a night? Yes. As a fan or a casual fan, would you pay the price of admission to go see Kyrie Irving play basketball? Of course. But Kyrie Irving is not now and has never been one of the players that you would listen to if you are a front office as it pertains to making decisions about roster construction and things like that. Especially when you consider the fact that Kyrie is a free agent. It's not like Kyrie Irving is making these suggestions or allegedly making these demands in Dallas and he's locked up in a long-term deal. Like he could walk out the door by himself and go anywhere he wants to. And so I don't blame Dallas for not wanting to facilitate or help facilitate a sign and trade between Kyrie Irving to get him to LA because that's not what they signed up for. They signed up for getting Kyrie to Dallas under the impression and under the notion that after this season, he would sign a long-term deal and they would continue to build this roster around Luka and Kyrie to compete for a championship. I don't blame Dallas, and I think Kyrie Irving should relax. And if he wants to go play with LeBron, he can figure out a way to force the Lakers to make it happen and go to
or conspiracy theory. Or is this is like a movie? Is this the great ploy for LeBron to get himself out of LA? Like you made good points. Like he's a free agent. He doesn't really need Dallas. Is this LeBron like, hey, like let's find a way to get me out of here without actually letting people know I want to get out of here? I mean, it wouldn't be the first time LeBron's pulled like third-party strings to get shit done for himself. So I mean, we always got to keep that in the back of our minds too. And who better to run point for LeBron on some Ocean's 11 type stuff than his boy Kyrie?
That's fair, but like, is there really? If we're being realistic, is there really a scenario? I can think of one maybe. I can think of one scenario legitimately or one situation legitimately that would put LeBron James in a better position to win a championship than where he is right now. And Dallas isn't that place.
But like, I think that's where you're looking at it. I think maybe you're looking at it the wrong way. I do think the championship's important, but is it where can I go possibly win a championship and be playing with my son in a year from now? LA, I think it's going to be very hard for them to do that because LA is always, as long as LeBron is there, they're going to be winning now. Dallas,
as long as Luka's there, Dallas is going to be winning back.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the same as the Lakers. Yeah, like Dallas could win now, but I mean, let's be real. Like the pressure is not there. They beat the crap out of the Suns last year with just Luka, and nobody was like, oh yeah, like it's championship or bust. The Lakers have been like that every year, even if their team is not good. Like it's going to be very hard to get Bronny on that team. Dallas, maybe it's a little bit easier.
Maybe. I just don't. If I'm Luka Doncic, I'm not liking anything. And I think the Mavericks recognize that. And if they cave into what Kyrie is wanting to do, or at least entertain it, that's not going to make Luka happy. Luki is set. Luki, what's wrong with you? Luka is set a free agent either at the end of next season or the year after. If this doesn't go well, we could see Luka Doncic not in a Dallas Mavericks uniform as early as 2025.
But I mean, no offense, he knew the writing was on the wall as soon as they traded for Kyrie. Because you bring in a guy like that, it's going to be a culture shift in more ways than not. Like,
sure,
you bring it like first of all, like how is Kyrie a fit with Luka, and then what Kyrie brings with him. He brings distraction, which we talked about on many occasions, but also he got boys that maybe he wants to get on this team. So the minute they traded for Kyrie, it was less and less Luka's team. I think he's going to end up out of Dallas, and I think it's going to be good for him.
I think it could be good for him as well, but I also do think, though, that
let him come to Miami.
Here you go. If there was one person, though, I think that could have filled the shoes of Dirk Nowitzki, it would have been Luka Doncic, and he was kind of in the early goings of his career anyway to this point, on track for that. From one team that doesn't know what they're doing to another team that has never known what they're doing, the Chicago Bulls want to extend Nikola Vucevic. JT, what are they doing?
The wrong shit, as usual. First of all, I mean, ever since he got to Chicago, all his stats have tanked. All his efficiency is basically not there anymore. I mean, they keep trying to prop this up as a big three. It's not. Like, Lonzo's not coming back. Zach LaVine hates his teammates. The teammates hate him. And DeRozan had one of the craziest spike years I've ever seen, and he's just back to where he was before. So I guess you look at all that and you're like, hey, well, Vucevic is still there. Let's keep him. I'd blow it up and get rid of them all, to be honest with you. And he would be, out of the big three, he'd be the one I'd be least likely to keep just because he can't do it anymore. Like, you can't build a big three around him because he needs so much usage. But even when he does get usage, it's not as efficient as it was when he was with the Orlando Magic. So, I mean, he's clearly older, getting, he's past his prime as far as being like a top, let's say, like 12 player. He's not there anymore. So I don't understand, like, what are you building around?
Here's the thing with Nikola Vucevic, right? In the 9 seasons he played in Orlando, he averaged about 18 points, 10 boards. He was shooting pretty well. He's been in Chicago for 3 seasons. His first season in Chicago, which was half a season because it was mid-trade, he was averaging 22 points. These last 2 seasons, he's averaged 17.6 points, 11 boards, and 3.2 assists on the dot. The only change has been that there has been, in his credit, an uptick in efficiency. He is shooting slightly better from the field. He's shooting slightly better from 3. He's shooting slightly better from the free throw line. Here's the problem, though. He doesn't impact winning. And when it comes time for him to play against the players that are key at his position, i.e. Giannis Antetokounmpo,
He getting
Joel
toasted.
Embiid, he gets toasted. Like, I am not a fan of half rebuilds. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. If you're going to blow it up, blow it up. And if you're Chicago, there's one person you want to keep, like you said, Nikola Vucevic is not the guy to keep. He has done nothing since being in Chicago to lend you to think that this is the guy to keep. Zach LaVine, over the past couple seasons, hasn't done enough to make you want to keep him. Now, he's on the right.
I got to disagree with you on that. If anybody has done enough, it's been him. It's just I don't think the teammates like him.
That's what I mean. Like, he hasn't, as the locker room presence that he once had, he no longer has, and clearly that's not good enough. And he now, granted, he's on the right side of 30. He's younger than 30. So, like, of the 3, he's the youngest. And if you would keep one of them, you would keep him because he's the youngest. You could still capitalize on the prime a bit and still build around him. But the one guy I think you should keep of the 3, if you were to keep, although I think all 3 should go, it would be DeMar DeRozan. Because since he's been there, he's been the most impactful. Like, he was the catalyst behind this offense 2 seasons ago. Technically, 2 seasons ago, because this season still going on. So last season, with all the the buzzer beaters and all the great performances and what he was doing to propel him into the playoffs, but he wasn't playing that well this season. And part of that has to do with he was in and out of line with injury and things like that. But the Bulls need to let all 3 of these guys go. Like, DeRozan needs to go, Vucevic needs to go, LaVine needs to go. To your point, we're not going to see, more likely not going to see Lonzo Ball play basketball anymore. Kobe White has clearly proven he's not the answer. This is no disrespect to Ayo Dosunmu, but like, he's really the only person worth keeping. That's because he's young. Alex Caruso, he's valuable. Like, they need to just blow it up and commit to the tank at this point, because they're not going to win a playoff game. They're not going to win a playoff series at this point with this roster. They're just not. When you look at what the Cavs have done, when you look at how the Knicks appear to be on the up and up, even though I am not a believer in the Knicks. When you look at some of these other teams in the Eastern Conference that seem to have it all pieced together, even the Brooklyn Nets could potentially be a playoff team next season. I think the Pistons hiring Monty Williams makes them a bit better, and at the very least, a play-in contender for next season. Like, the Bulls aren't going anywhere. The Pacers are going to continue to get better as Tyrese Halliburton continues to get better, and as they continue to fill out that roster around him and Miles Turner. Like, they need to just blow it up. They need to let it go, and they need to blow it up, because this roster, it's not going anywhere. At best, it's getting out of the first round. At best.
Yeah, it's sad too, because all the stars we talked about, the person they really, I think they behind the scenes tried to build around was Lonzo Ball. I think if Lonzo Ball is healthy, this team looks totally different, and this is never gonna come to fruition because he's not gonna play. So that's why they have to blow it up. Like, just think about it. He hasn't played, but all these other guys have had these spurts of greatness. Like DeRozan last season, unbelievable year. Like, people were talking MVP. Zach LaVine's going to do his thing from time to time. Vuce, he's still going to give you something. But all those guys, you can throw in Caruso too. All those guys look totally different when Lonzo Ball is out there playing. And the fact that he hasn't been there, that's why Chicago has looked so bad. So that whole big 3 that they tried to do around Lonzo, I think his injury has sort of put them in the point where they just can't do this anymore, and they got to pick one guy. I don't think they should pick any of them, to be honest with you. But if I had to pick one, it'd be LaVine.
Yeah, I think you should also pick LaVine in this case. Let's talk about something that I think is a really touchy subject with NBA fans, because there's been a lot of discourse surrounding the number of games. There's been a lot of discourse surrounding back-to-back as far as health and load management is concerned. Adam Silver blatantly said at the beginning, during the pregame show of Game 2, that an NBA in-season tournament is in the works and it could be coming. Are you a fan of an in-season tournament? Would you like to see an in-season tournament? Do you see any reason why the NBA should not pursue an in-season tournament?
No, because the players have told us anything but the playoffs don't matter. So they just trying to dress regular season games up as something fancy when I know it just came from the rack at Ross. Like it's the same stuff. Like in-season tournament, all-star game, regular season, like they want to play as little of those amount of games as possible. So I don't really care. We're gonna get the in-season tournament. Zion, Brandon Ingram gonna be out. AD's gonna be out. Like we're gonna get Austin Reeves versus CJ McCollum. Like that's the same stuff. Like I'm not excited about it because I know they don't want to play. And even if they say they're gonna punish them, they're gonna find ways to not play in that too, just like they don't do in regular games in the All-Star game.
I love it. I think it's a great idea.
You like everything that's new and shiny. They dress it up to something new. You get excited.
Maybe I think it's the naivety in me. I mean, I think and Adam Silver made this comparison the other night. Like, soccer does it. The WNBA does it, and it worked great in the WNBA. I think if there is one thing, because here's the thing, for those of you guys that don't understand what it is, it's not like we're adding more games to the season. It's still going to be an 82 game season, but certain games will count both to your regular season record and then to this specific in-game or in-season tournament. There's going to be 4 teams, the top 4 teams. I don't know if it's like 2 teams in each conference or just the top 4 teams overall will then go and compete on a neutral site semifinals and finals game, and the prize is money. And a lot of people on Twitter were like, these guys are already making a lot of money. Sure, if you're like a LeBron James or a Steph Curry or one of the up-and-up guys, but if you're a role player that doesn't get as many minutes, you would be, for these guys, incentivized to want to play in these games because you could potentially be making more money, whatever that prize money is. I think it's a great idea. I think it would give more meaning to regular season games because you're right. The NBA players especially have shown us over the past couple of years that NBA games don't matter. Regular season games don't matter. Here's where I'm going to defend NBA players. The reason why NBA players have taken on this idea that regular season games don't matter is because we as the fans have made it as so that the only thing that matters when it comes to your legacy and your greatness is whether or not you win a championship.
But how is that different from any other sport? You can say the same. It's even more so in football. You don't win, you ain't shit. But people still gonna watch all 17 games. They all matter. Like let's call it what it is. The NBA is run by players. The players looking out for themselves. I mean, hey, look, if you got the upper hand, I'm not hating the game. I'm not hating the player. Like, you know what I'm saying, do your thing. But if I could get paid the same amount of money for doing less work, why would I not take that option? That's essentially what it is.
Well, I think but I think you and I can both agree though that like there was a time though when all-star games mattered, and there was a time when players took the all-star game seriously, and there was a time when regular season games meant more, right? Christmas games meant a lot. And certain games between certain teams, no matter where they fell on the calendar, they mattered. I think we have to look at not just the changing of the guard as far as the player mentality, but also like the fan mentality. Like we as fans have made it abundantly clear within our discourse on the internet over the last decade or so that the only thing that matters are the players that hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the season. And me personally, I don't think that's true. Like the number of all-star games that you make, to me, that matters. That is not MVPs
true.
Matters. And all it is true.
That's not true. First of all, go back to the first thing you said. See, you know what? It's why I don't work with kids. The reason why those guys played in those all-star games and played all 82, because guess what? That's the only way to get more money and build your brand so more people can see you and you become more popular. Now you don't have to. You don't have to. Zion has been on the bench for 4 years, and he making more money than people that have played more games than him. Like
Zion's making all of the money.
Getting exposure is easier. You're getting paid more earlier. That's why the games don't matter. They're getting the money already. Like, why do they have to go out? They don't have to go out there and earn it.
But
the dudes back in the day, you had to go out there and play and earn the money.
Zion's not a good example because of who he was in college.
Perfect example.
Like, he's not though, because he was he became a household name in college. If you're talking about
that's the point. That's the point. Right? There's more exposure. There's more exposure because it's just more access to media.
But if you're talking about some of these players that were not household names in college, right? Regular season games to them matter. Like if you play us now, we live in a world now where if you don't play 65 games in the regular season, you are no longer eligible for all league selections and NBA awards. Guess what that means? There is a cap now on the amount of money that you can make, right?
But let's keep it real though. The regular season games only matter to those dudes that haven't gotten the bag yet. So, like, guess what? Austin Reeves, yeah, it matters to him because like, he want to get the bag. He gonna get this $100 million, and watch, he gonna start sitting back to backs too. Like, it's not because it matters. That's the only path to the bag.
I think all regular season games matter, even if it is 82 games. It could be a 50 some odd game season, and I think all the regular season games matter. And I think the reason why it matters is, as corny as it sounds, like there's this thing called chemistry and these thing called habits and trends that you can get rid of and you can attack during the course of the regular season. Like, this isn't a 17-week season where you know that there are certain teams that are going to be in the thick of it come the end of the season. Like, that's not what this is. This is 82 games over a bunch of months, and anything can happen at any given time, and every game matters, in my opinion. I don't care if the Lakers are playing the Pistons. I don't care if the Pistons are playing the Rockets. Like, every game matters in their own reason. And maybe that's just because I'm a young whippersnapper that hasn't seen basketball without LeBron James, and so I'm just conditioned to still think that every regular season game matters. But these games matter. They do.
Are you gonna get a shirt that say regular season games matter? I feel like you should do that now.
If I have to, I'll text Germ right now and tell him we should get.
I think you should. I think you should wear that shirt.
I think we should get this merch for the network. Yeah, and I'll buy it.
You should.
And I'll wear it. We should make it happen. I don't care.
Regular season games don't matter, bro. You know that. If you played fantasy basketball, you would know they definitely don't matter.
Let me ask you this question: How don't they matter?
They don't. They don't matter. They don't matter for two reasons. One, you can have a regular season and still get in with the play-in. Like, that's why they don't matter. Like, think about the teams that win. Look at the Heat. Look at the Heat. We lost the play-in. We're the A seed, and now we're in the finals. We're the lowest scoring team in the NBA. Do we look like the regular season version of ourselves? No, it does not matter. It does not matter. And the regular season doesn't matter because the NBA, the series are so long. You know, like, the talent will win out. Like, think about a team that's got, you know, like 3 all-stars and, you know, they miss different parts of the year or whatever, and they sneak into the playoffs. They're going to make a run. Look at the Nets last year. There's a reason why Vegas, even though they were 8 seed, they picked them as the odds-on favorite to still win it because they still had those 3 big dogs, and they know, okay, it's going to be very hard to beat this team in a 7-game series. That's why the regular season doesn't matter. Like, most teams still can get in the playoffs, and when it comes to the playoffs, you got to beat a great team in a 7-game series. Like, it just doesn't matter. You just get in, and everybody got a chance.
JT, there's a reason why there's only 2 8 seeds in the history of basketball to make it to the NBA Finals. It's because as an 8th seed, you're not likely to make it that far. The Heat aren't a good example because Jimmy Butler is the only player on the NBA that's the best player on his team that plays completely different in the postseason as he does in the regular season. He's the only player that does that. Like, every other best player on the team, Giannis Antetokounmpo, for example, he's quite consistent. He elevates his game come postseason time, but Giannis Antetokounmpo plays like he's the best player in the world.
Who is the 8th seed in the West?
Who is the 8th seed in the West? The Lakers?
Okay.
No,
they not have guys that play out of their minds?
No, the Lakers were the 8th seed in the West? Who's the 8th seed in the West? It wasn't the Lakers because who played the Nuggets in the first round? The Timberwolves were the 8th seed in the West.
Timberwolves are a bad example. Their best player was injured all year. But
if you want to use the Lakers, first of all, your best player is Karl Anthony Towns, I'm wrong with the organization. If you want to use the Lakers, for example,
I disagree with that.
Karl Anthony Towns, he's corny and he changes his voice all the time for no reason. He's inconsistent.
That's because y'all keep clowning him. Let that man talk how he normally talk. Like, why you gotta judge Karl Anthony Towns? I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn what the man sound like. If he can go out there and give me 30 and 15. Like 6 assists. I will shut up. I will shut up and let him play.
I also respect for Karl Anthony Towns when he said with a straight face he's the greatest shooting big man in the history of basketball.
He's up there. He's pretty good. He's pretty talented. I'm telling you what. I don't think you realize. See, you too young. I don't think you realize how bad Minnesota is for careers.
Is he a better shooter than Dirk Nowitzki? No,
they're two totally different types of players. Dirk ain't him in the post.
Stop.
Dirk's not him in the post.
Stop doing this. We're not talking about the post. We're talking about shooting. You see what you do? every time we work together, I learn more and more about Don's frustration. You see, I asked you one thing, and you want to talk about the
because you don't work with him enough. you don't work with him enough. So you're only working with me. You notice you very rarely get him one-on-one. Trust me. You will go down this rabbit hole of madness too, where you don't want to work with him either.
I would love to get Don one-on-one. I think it would be one of the most calming and easiest shows I'll ever do.
Think so? See, that's how I can tell that man got y'all fooled. That's what drives me nuts. No, I mean, obviously, I think Dirk's a better jump shooter, but you have like Karl Anthony Towns can't hit mid range and hit the three too. Like he's talented.
I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying he's not a better shooter than Dirk. Is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Let's talk expansion. Like we all know that expansion is on the horizon. It's been on the horizon for a couple of years now. I'm sure you've lived through an expansion or two in your life. I don't think I have. Well, I think I have.
This man making me see like I'm old as hell.
JT, you're in your 40s, are you not?
No, I'm not.
How old are you?
I'm not 40.
Are you in your 30s?
I'm not 40. Huh?
You're not in your 20s. So you're in your 30s.
Either way, I'm not telling you which turn of 30 I'm in, but I'll let you know it's somewhere between 30 and 39. I ain't 40.
The point is, you've witnessed an expansion, like you can remember it. I'm sure I've witnessed it. When were the Bobcats added to the league? I don't know. The point is, expansion is on the horizon as soon as the spring of 2024, and I think it's a foregone conclusion that the Supersonics are coming back by then. What other city do you think should have a team or is likely to get a team by then?
Who should get a team? I can think of a couple. I think Pittsburgh should get a team. It's such a great sports town. Like, they're going to go, regardless if they win or lose it or not, it's going to be great because basketball will be new. And I feel like it's not fair. Philly has a basketball team, NBA team, and Pittsburgh doesn't. So I think that's where I would go. It just seems like a good fit. In other places I would probably get another team is, where do I want to go visit? I mean, Vegas would be nice. I'm pretty sure that's all the agenda.
I'm sure it is too. Yeah.
Hold on. First of all, have you ever been to Vegas?
Nope.
I'm telling you, perfect sports town, man. I don't know how they plot this out, but perfect sports town. Vegas would be up there. And let me get what would be a third one that I want to see.
They say the mind is the first to go.
Nah, I'm not seeing now. It's gotta be some place where they're just waiting. Like, I don't know, whatever small market is just clamoring for one. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
I don't really think. Honestly, I think the only place that's really been clamoring for one is Seattle, of course, because of the relocation.
Nobody cares about the Sonics. Like, that shit's old. Like,
Seattle
people haven't cared about the Sonics since Sean Kemp.
That's true. I think so. I do think that we'll go back to Seattle. I also it'll be two Western Conference teams, and I think the reason why it's going to be two Western Conference teams is because there's two teams that are in the West that geographically don't belong in the West. The Memphis Grizzlies and the New Orleans Pelicans are not Western Conference basketball teams.
Facts.
They play on the eastern side of the country. They should be in the Eastern Conference. So whatever two teams are added, they're going to be in the West, and I would expect the Grizzlies and the Pelicans to be moved over to the East. There's one place that I think is a sleeper place that I don't think it'll be in this round of expansion, but maybe in another one we could see it. I do think we're going to get another team in Canada eventually, and I think the NBA is going to go back to Vancouver. The Grizzlies were once in Vancouver before they moved to Memphis. Toronto has done a fantastic job of being like the Canadian city and the place where Canadian basketball exists. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe not, like I said, in this next round. I think this next round is earmarked for Seattle for sure and maybe Vegas because everyone's going to Vegas. Like we've seen the Raiders move to Vegas. The Athletics are going to be moving to Vegas. Obviously, the Las Vegas Aces for the WBA, like they're in Vegas. They left from San Antonio.
It's a great sports town.
Vegas is a really great sports town, and it is, of course, the home and the mecca of sports betting. So it kind of makes sense that all these places are gravitating there. I would expect to see a team in Vancouver at some point eventually within the next 10 years or so, if that's how the expansion calendar works. But like,
have you ever been to Vancouver though?
Have I ever been to Vancouver? No,
yeah.
I've never been out of the country, bro.
Okay, so I have been to Vancouver a bunch of times. I'm gonna tell you this. Most do not judge Canada by Toronto. I will say that's the first thing. Toronto is totally different. Now, Vancouver, I'd rather put an NFL team there than an NBA team because I know an NFL team, they will go to the games. Like Canadians, they love hockey, but they love the NFL too. They don't even go watch Canadian football. They will have an NFL team before they have a Canadian football team. So I would do that before I do an NBA team. I just don't see that. I just don't see people in Vancouver going to an NBA game. Like they'll go to a hockey game, but I don't know. I don't know about basketball, man. Like I just don't see it.
Maybe you're right. But I think when you look at places where teams have been, I think that's a
mistake. There's a reason why they ain't there no more. I'm being serious.
You've got a great point. I think there's a couple cities that have basketball teams now, but I don't think they deserve one.
Like who? I'm very interested to see who's on this list.
DC doesn't deserve a basketball team. We don't deserve anything. No, we don't deserve
DC is a hoops hotbed. How do they not? They deserve a better team. That's different.
Sure, you're right. The Washington DC deserves a better team. I'll give you that.
If Kevin Durant came back to DC 3 years ago, there would be no season tickets left. Like let's be real. DC got good fans.
Well, he's a hometown boy, so that's a bit different.
Yeah, come on, man. Don't do DC like that, man. Come on. Like there's Bullets fans out there right now be like, you done lost your mind.
Yeah, maybe I saw somewhere on Twitter there was a graphic that was like they should bring a team to Baltimore. Let's make sure we're on the same page.
I ain't gonna lie. That's a good idea. An NBA team in Baltimore? Hell yeah.
No.
Yes.
First of all,
John Morant can't go there, but they need a team in Baltimore.
First of all,
I'm not gonna lie. That's a good ass idea.
Baltimore's not that big, number one.
That's perfect.
Number two, the Orioles and the Ravens already play across the street from each other. There's no space in Baltimore for another arena. There isn't.
Billionaires will find a space. Look at Vegas. They literally were like, all right, that plot of land right there between these hotels, we're going to build $1 billion stadium. They'll find a way.
But Vegas is the Saudi Arabia of our country. Like, they're just always building expensive stuff for no reason. Like, every day you wake up, you gotta
go. I feel like you will understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Every day you wake up, you get on Twitter, you get on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. There's a new report of something gigantic that costs millions and billions of dollars being built in Abu Dhabi or something. That's what Vegas is. Like, they just built this fat sphere to hold concerts and all this other stuff. That's got millions of LED screens all over the place. Like, Vegas just builds stuff just to build stuff. They got a replica Eiffel Tower out there and all this other nonsense. They're just building stuff just to build stuff. That's what it is.
You really need to go to Las Vegas. Like I know you young. I know you old enough to drink, right?
No, I'm 20 years old, bro.
I mean, at least they got sports. You can go watch that. You can go watch that stuff. You just need to go to Vegas, man.
I'm an Aces fan. I'll make my way to Vegas on more than one occasion. I mean, I'm an Aces fan. I got to go see Asia Wilson in person with my own 2 eyes. Let's talk NBA Finals. Let's talk about your Miami Heat, who are going to be hosting Game 3 tomorrow night. There's a couple different things that we can talk about. I'm not going to ask you who you think is going to win the game because you're a Heat fan. You think the Heat are going to win the game. What I will ask you, though, is are you at all displeased with the way that Jimmy Butler has performed so far through 2 games?
No, I'm not. I'm just taking into account what's going on. And I think Boston exposed, a good way to stop him. Like, don't bite on the pump fakes. And I think he's had to adjust his game when that pump fake and getting to the free throw line and drawing the foul is not available. He's had to become more of, I pick my shots. I pick when I'm going to attack the basket. I pick when I'm going to be a facilitator. But I still think he's playing great. And then also, keep in mind, got hurt in the Knicks series. But, I mean, he was also scoring at an elite. All his efficiencies numbers were elite. That was eventually going to come back down. So, like, he wasn't going to be averaging 38, 35 points forever, like, every game. Like, it wasn't going to be 50-point, 40-point game every other game. So I knew that wasn't going to happen. But it's just Jimmy being the player that they need. Like, they need him to, do his thing, keep them in the game, and then maybe down the stretch of his close, he takes over. But I just think he's just adjusting to how defenses are playing him. And I think Boston, gave a good blueprint on how to keep Jimmy Butler from being LeBron playoff Jimmy Butler.
I mean, I am not disappointed in Jimmy. I am slightly
You
surprised
look
that
hella disappointed. Just tell the
no, no,
truth.
no, no. I'm not disappointed in Jimmy. I am just a bit surprised though that Bam is playing the way that he's playing, and he's been arguably the best player on the team so
But
far.
that's the game plan in this series, though, is to let Bam have those shots.
Well, Bam is really inconsistent though, which is why I'm surprised that so far through 2 games he's been able to maintain it. Like I was on Justin's show last night, and I was talking about how impressive it is that when you look at what he's been able to do on both sides of the ball, especially in game 2 down the stretch. And I know Jokic had 40 points, and it's kind of weird to praise Bam when the guy he was guarding had 40, but Bam played great defense, and he's played great defense so far through 2 games. You're not going to stop Nikola Jokic. I think what's important to think about is that what Bam did do is that he limited Jokic's ability to pass the ball to his teammates, which is why he only had 4 assists and he had 5 turnovers, which it's very rare in Nikola Jokic's career that he has more turnovers than assists. And I think that goes credit to Bam. I am just slightly surprised that Bam has been playing better than Jimmy. I expect at some point that to change because I don't think that Bam being the best player on this team is conducive to winning a championship. I don't care how many games it is. I just don't think that's the way for the Heat to walk out of this series as NBA champions this year.
Yeah, but I think credit to Malone and the coaching staff. I think that was their plan coming into this series. Like, let's emulate what Boston did down the stretch. Let's make Jimmy Butler uncomfortable and just let's see how long these role players can keep hitting threes at this ridiculous pace. And I think that's what they're betting on. Bet worked game 1 because we couldn't hit anything, and they lost game 2 because the same guys hit them shots. But I think that's what it is. I think their game plan is to limit Jimmy Butler. Don't let him get on one-on-one situations. Don't bite on the pump fake, and don't let him get to the line. Because if Jimmy Butler's getting to the line 10 to 12 times, that we're most likely going to win that game because not only are we getting free points that he's going to get, but we're also slowing the game down and taking another team out of rhythm. And I think the same thing on the other side. I think their game plan coming into this series was let's let Jokic do damage scoring and let's not let him get anybody else involved. Because you see, big difference between this game and game 1 was he wasn't able to get guys like Michael Porter and Jamal Murray involved. Like, as soon as we went to that zone and we took them out of that 2-man game where him and Jokic and Murray just been killing people on the pick and roll, like, it's a totally different team. And I knew, even though they did play well the first game and they won, just look at what it took for them to win. Like, we shot horribly. Our 3 hottest 3-point shooters couldn't hit anything, and we still almost had a chance to win that game. So, I mean, what did you think was going to happen? They were going to hit shots eventually. And then they figured out, how to slow Jokic down a little bit. I think that's a big win for the Heat.
I would agree with you. I do think when you look at the way that the Nuggets won game 1, considering how poorly Jimmy played and how poorly the team shot collectively from 3, and then for the Heat to only lose by 11, I don't think there are moral victories in sports. I don't think that exists. I think the one exception to the rule
is
about
to say you believe in them.
The one exception to the rule is DeMar Hamlin because he's an extenuating circumstance. But I don't think there's moral victories in sports. But I do think that internally for the Heat, they do walk away from that game feeling good about the fact that they did not play their best, and they only lost by 11 points. And this was an offense in Denver that was clicking relatively well in game 1. So to come back from that, obviously shooting better now, they've won game 2. My thought process, and I did pick the Heat to win the series in 7. My thought process now is if it takes an historically bad shooting night for the Nuggets to win, and they only win by 11, and we know how at home, and we know how well these role players, specifically Caleb Martin and Max Strus and Gabe Vincent and the crew, shoot at home, is it at all unreasonable to think then that come game 5 back in Denver, the Nuggets will be down 3-1? And for me, I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah, what Jalen Brown said, don't let us get 3 more. Like, it's true. Because first of all, if you notice, we're always stealing a game on somebody's home court in these playoffs. So I thought we could get 2, but I'll settle for 1 because the one that we lost, we just discussed, why that was a victory for us morally. Mm-hmm. But yeah, because I don't think Denver is going to get 1 at home with the Heat. I don't think they will because those guys are shooting better at home. They're more comfortable. We're rested after this battle going toe-to-toe with Boston in an exhausting 7-game series. And here's the thing. Miami is probably the one team in the playoffs you don't want to see on your home court, especially if you're facing elimination because anything can happen. We can come out there, shoot our threes, beat you by 20, or make it dramatic down the stretch, beat you in a close game, and Jimmy Butler goes off. Either way, you don't want to deal with that, especially at home. And the Heat are the team that can beat you on the road. So yeah, I think they could be coming back to Denver and face elimination. I do.
And I think that's a great. I mean, when you look at it again, like you go into Miami, they were when you look at the round one, they went back to Miami. It was a 1-1 series. When you look at what they did against the Knicks, it was a 1-1 series back to Miami. They were obviously up 2-0 back to Miami. And now they've done another instance where they're 1-1. The beautiful thing about Miami and this playoff run is they have managed to find a way to, going into game 3, they have found a way to steal home court advantage in a best of 5 situation, because now that's what we're looking at. Like, we're looking at a scenario where over the next 4 games, 3 of the next 4 games are going to be where? They're going to be in Miami, which is where these guys play best and where they shoot the best. I didn't think about it really until earlier today when I was kind of going over just the flows and looking at what the Heat have done. But when you look at what has happened with the Miami Heat this season, and when you look at what the Denver Nuggets have done this season, the Denver Nuggets, even though they're in the finals, they haven't played that great.
They've had a cake schedule. I mean, we can't fault them for that. Like, they got to play who's in front of them. But I mean, you're right. They haven't been battle tested in the playoffs.
Yeah, and they haven't, and that's a fair point as well. When you look at their road, they obviously had the Timberwolves, which
hold on, talk about. You thought I forgot, huh? So you just going to discredit the Suns? When last time I was on this show, I told you that the Nuggets was going to beat the shit out of the Suns before that series started.
They won in 6, so they didn't do that.
No, they beat the best out of them. You know it.
It was a 6.
It wasn't close.
It was a 6-game series, and the Suns were playing 5-on-2.
It wasn't close.
It's okay. It's fine. I don't disagree. I am mature enough to take my L. I'll hold it out for you.
You're mature enough to take an L, but not take a drink.
I just don't want to. That doesn't really seem like anything I want to do, bro. I don't see the.
Don't worry, we'll get you to Vegas. That'll change. You haven't gone through enough stress in life yet. That'll change.
I've gone through stressful things in life.
If you haven't drank before, you're not stressed enough.
So you have the Heat in how many?
I had them in 6 before the series started, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, and again, and it could be drastic, and this is, and we takes change over the course of, when you look at, of course, over the course of a series, and predicting a potential 3-1 deficit for the Nuggets, I feel like for viewers and for listeners is like such a crazy thing to do because it is the Nuggets and because it's such a well-oiled machine. But again, when you think about what the Heat have done, first of all, how many times, with an exception of obviously the Boston series, and the Boston series was a bit different because they struggled a bit down the stretch of that series leading into the Game 7. They snapped out of it and had the dominant game they had in Game 7. How many times in this series have we seen the Heat not unsuccessfully string together 2 wins? Aside from Boston, it hasn't happened. They haven't not won at least 2 in a row since the Boston series. And it's been because Boston, who also played terribly through the first 3 games of the series, which led to the 3-0 deficit, they flipped their switch and they got back to playing the basketball
Did they though? Because I'm sorry, game 6 was the luckiest shit I've ever seen. Like that was the epitome of the NBA and the basketball guys be like, look, man, this the last thing in the bag we got to throw for you guys to win this thing. Like, that would take that out. We're not even talking about Boston making a comeback because they really played a game and a half that was really decent. But I think, to your point, in this Denver series, this is what I think it will come down to why I think we both think the Heat are going to win this is, regardless of how bad the Heat have played in certain spots, every time I watch them play in a playoff game and they're down double digits, I always feel like they can erase that at some point. Like, I'm like, all right, we go down in the halftime, we're down 20, we're down 11. They're going to find a way to get back in this thing. They're going to go on one of these runs. Like, I don't know if Denver was down 20 points at multiple times during the game, they can overcome that. I just don't see that because the guys that they are relying on to be these scorers, especially from the 3, like, I don't trust them. Like, it's sad. I don't trust Michael Porter Jr. I don't trust Bruce Brown. And, I mean, I love Jamal Murray, but if they're not in the pick and roll, like, he's not dropping these epic 30, 35-point games where, like, Caleb Martin, Strus, Gabe Vincent, like, this is what they do. Like, they even got Duncan Robinson out here, putting the ball on the ground, grilling people and stuff like that. So I trust those guys to shoot, and they're going to be able to erase those big deficits. And I think that's why the Heat have been so dangerous, because you go on a run, you better keep, your foot on their neck because they can easily erase that, 3 minutes down the road. That 20-point lead could be tied.
And I think that has a lot to do with the Denver Nuggets are such a half-court reliant offense. Like you don't see, and it's crazy because they have the talent where they could be so much better and so much more lethal.
And also their pace, they're like the pace that they push the ball is like when they initiate the offense is fast, but then everything got to go through Jokic, like you were saying.
Down. Everything settles down. When you look at the Miami Heat have no problem getting out in space. And one of the reasons why they're able to get out in space so much is because they're able to turn that quick defense into instant offense in a way that no other team can. Like the amount of times you see steals leading to fast break points or blocks leading to fast break points, or we praise Jokic for his outlet passes. The Miami Heat as a team, their outlet passes as a team are second to none and uncomparable to other teams in the league because they get out and they run. And so it's not just open rhythm threes that pile up on top of you. It's simply just conventional fast break basketball, taking advantage of 2-on-1 fast breaks and 3-on-1 fast breaks and getting back and making it count as soon as possible. Like I can count. It's very rare that you see the Miami Heat struggle in the fast break. And if the Miami Heat are struggling in the fast break, they're probably not going to win that game.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
Kind of how it works. But the Heat, I think,
No, I was just saying to add on to that though too. This is what I was worried about with Denver in the regular season. Their rotation is really not that deep. Where the Heat, they got a lot of guys out there. They throwing a lot of bodies at you. A lot of guys that can defend and shoot. You got a guy like Highsmith. A lot of people don't even know who he is. He out there. He can get you 15. They got old ass Kyle Lowry out there jacking up threes late in the shot clock. Like the Heat are a deep team, and like they all can come in and do their thing. And we don't even have Tyler Hero back yet. Like he don't even want to come back. But Denver, when Jokic goes to the bench, they've always struggled. They got lucky. They got lucky one game 2 with that, but they didn't win, unfortunately. But it's Jokic or bust, and I think he's so important for everybody else to get off. And then on top of that, they all got to play a lot of minutes because like that bench, they're not going that deep into that bench. Like we're not seeing like the 8th or 9th guy that consistently. Where in Miami, like they're gonna throw anybody at you. Udonis Haslem might come out the next game and give you 20 minutes. Like you just never know what Coach Spo is gonna do.
Udonis Haslem is ridiculous.
What we're not going to, I'm about to say, be careful what you say. What we're not going to do is disrespect UD on this show because I get text messages from all my friends every year. It's like a Christmas card. Like they're trashing Udonis Haslem. He's just a coach. He can't play. And then this man came out here, played a full game, and bust these young cats' ass.
Who?
Did you not? You didn't see UD play this year? Man, go look at the highlights. You ain't see Udonis Haslem play at the end of the year this year?
No.
Go look at the highlights. See, you know what? That's what I'm saying. Look, hey, Marcus is not a real basketball fan if you did not see UD play this year. Go Google the highlights on YouTube. This man put up like 25 and 10, bro. He was out there dunking.
Okay, I think we're talking about two different players.
No, Udonis Haslem. People that are watching the show know I'm telling the truth because this actually happened late this season. He played. You did not see this?
Who'd they play? Who'd they play?
Oh my gosh. Really, we doing this? You just go Google it.
Who'd they play?
Go Google it.
I'll look up.
We really doing that?
I'll let you do the network plug, and while you do that, I'm gonna look up Udonis Haslem's game logs for this season, and I'm gonna see if I can find it. Go ahead.
I don't know why he's asking me to do this. I don't do plugs, but this is GOAT Talk with Marcus on the Just Give Us a Shot network. Glad to be a part of that. Watch all our content. Very talented creators. Marcus, obviously, me and Don at JT and the Don, German Bert, stuff about sports, and also our big brother, The Divide. You found it yet?
I see a bunch of zeros, like take that much, and a bunch of DNPs.
Hold on. Go to your next point. I'm gonna find this for you.
There's no next point. The show's over. Okay, I do see April 9th. He had 24 points. They played.
That was this year, right?
Did they play the
Knicks?
Did
they play the Knicks?
He
The
played
Magic.
25 minutes. Okay.
Hey, that man went off. Say them stats again.
Against the Magic, though, I don't know if that.
It's Udonis Haslem. This man, if you combine our ages, he's still older. So like y'all not like you're not gonna disrespect the man. Like he said the quote, was it last week? He's like, I see all these old jokes and I'm just on the bench. He's like, I will really bust your ass For everybody who say I can't play, y'all act like I'm not out here taking care of my body. He can play. If Udonis Haslem had to give them 15 minutes in this series in the game, he could do it. I'd rather have UD out there than Cody Zeller.
That's absurd. That's absurd.
What's absurd? What's absurd is you don't think Baltimore and DC deserve an NBA team, bro. They don't need to let you back in the city. You don't really live there.
I think DC deserves better. You're right. I misspoke. I think DC deserves better. I'm not saying that Baltimore doesn't deserve a city. I'm saying I don't.
They should call them the Baltimore Wires. That's what they should be called.
Ew. I'm just saying I think the NBA should stay as far away from Baltimore.
The Baltimore Barksdales. I like that too.
What are you doing?
I like
what
that.
Are these names you're coming up with? These names are disgusting.
The Baltimore Barksdales. I like that.
Baltimore Barksdales.
Yes.
JT, what is a Barksdale?
The fact that you have to ask me that, please don't let them see this. If you have to ask me,
Barksdale, bro.
If you have to ask me about Barksdale,
what is it?
I can't even use your age as an excuse. Yo, this is unreal. Yo, you live in the DMV area. You know about Baltimore. You've been to Baltimore, and you don't know nothing. You don't know what Barksdale is?
Is it? I just looked it up.
Yo, you tripping right now. Yo.
Bro,
hey, man.
Okay, let me before we out here, let me paint a picture for the child.
You were tripping right now. Don't let the boys see this for real.
Bro, I grew up by myself. I skipped 2 grades. If there's anybody you think that's gonna know what a Barksdale is, I'm not that guy, bro.
You know, at first we gotta. All right, for those that are watching, we officially got a to-do list this summer from Marcus. The first thing we're gonna do is he's gonna watch The Wire because no human being should live life without seeing that show. So you're gonna watch The Wire, and you need to watch it.
Some of The Wire.
You ain't watched enough. You gotta watch The Wire this summer, and we're gonna get you caught up because we just can't have you out there representing the network. And really, we can't have you walking around DC and Baltimore and you ain't never seen The Wire. Like
walk around Baltimore. That's not a problem.
You can't be doing that kind of shit.
I don't want.
We're gonna get you a drink, and we're gonna get you to Vegas. Like, shit's taking too long. You need to get your life together, son. I'm sorry.
Bro, I'm a square. Okay, let's just
nah. Russ ain't this square. Russ has seen The Wire. Russ has been to Vegas. Russ drinks. You ain't got no excuse. We at least gonna get you to the Russell Wilson level of squareness.
Who is Russ? Russell Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Unlimited?
Yes.
Yes.
We at least gonna get you to the level of Russ squareness because this is unacceptable, bro. First of all, what if I'm not doing shit with you until you watch one episode of The Wire? Like you can't even talk to me. Don't text me.
Episodes of The Wire, man.
Don't text me. Don't text me until you had to show me a screenshot that you have started watching The Wire. We're not talking.
Of The Wire.
Don't talk to me. Don't tag me until you watch The Wire. This is unbelievable.
That's an absurd thing to say. I think that's an absurd thing to say.
Do you know how crazy it is? You have not watched this show. This is the greatest show of all time. It ain't no debate. Ask anybody. 9 out of 10 dentists gonna tell you this is the best show of all time.
I haven't watched it from start to finish, but I've seen it.
You ain't got nothing else to do. What's the whole time? I know. I don't mean to hijack your show. I know we go on topic, but what is your favorite show of all time?
My favorite show of all time?
You about to say like Dragon Ball Z, ain't you?
No. I don't really think I have a favorite show of all time. I think there's just a bunch of shows.
Give me a top 3.
I don't know if I really have a top 3. Jeez, we're gonna be here all night. I don't think I have a top 3.
This can't be real life. So what we're gonna do is
okay. If there's 3 shows that I could watch like over and over again and not get sick of them, it would be Family Guy, Martin, and Everybody Hates Chris.
Thank God he said Martin. I was about to kick you out the show, man. Don't worry. We gonna take up a collection for you of shows that you need to watch in order to continue your life. Like you need to watch The Wire
to continue my life.
Continue your life. You need to watch The Wire. I'm sorry. There's no way you can live. There's no way you can live in the DMV area, live near Baltimore, and not know this show inside out. The fact that I said the Baltimore Barksdales, you was like, "What is a Barksdale?" Like it was a damn dog. Is embarrassing. Embarrassing.
Bro.
Like what did you think it was?
I don't know. I didn't think it was anything. That's why I asked.
He's like, oh, he's just out here talking shit off the top of his head, just naming names.
I
Nah,
did.
don't worry. Hey. This our little brother. Don't worry, y'all. We gonna get him right. Oh
I don't see the problem in not knowing what the Barksdale.
that was a big problem.
What's a Barksdale? We spent the last 10 minutes talking. You could just explain to me what a Barksdale is.
Avon Barksdale.
Who?
Avon Barksdale, main character, main villain in The Wire. Come on, man. Wood Harris, the GOAT. Tripping. Come on. Hey. Don knows this. Don knows this. Don't let him hear you talk like this.
Don's much older than I am.
This ain't got nothing to do with age, bro. Trust me.
He's much older.
This not something you can blame on your age. But
I think it
come on. No,
I think it is.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
I know children that have seen The Wire.
They've lived different lives than I.
I
am the son of a. I don't think my mom has seen The Wire.
I see the kid watching The Wire on their iPad, so you ain't got no excuse.
I don't think my mom's seen The Wire. My mom is a she's a lovely woman. She's a lovely God-fearing woman. Mommy, if you're watching this, I love you. I don't think she's seen The Wire. There's a lot of things I don't know.
She's somewhere giving you a side eye like I seen it.
if she's seen The Wire, then I don't know. But I don't think she's seen The Wire. I don't know.
Okay.
If she hasn't seen The Wire, that's why I haven't seen The Wire. Because
I don't think that's a valid excuse. I'm just saying, look, you live in DC. You live in DC.
You are the product
you are
of
Baltimore adjacent. Just watch The Wire. That's all I'm saying. We gave you a book report. We need you to fill this out by the end of the summer.
A book report. You give me a list of things to do by Friday, and I will do a whole separate thing for the network of me checking these things off the list.
All right. Well, I'll talk with the guys. We'll get you a
all you guys, list. You, Mike, Corey, Don, JT. You're JT.
You sure you want to open this up to everybody? Because at least I'm gonna have you do stuff that normal adults do. I don't know what all these other guys got for you to check off your bucket list.
Anything that is within my realm of possibility, I will do between, let's say, Monday and the end of the summer. When does the summer officially end?
Well, you said I don't agree with you on this though, but you said you were square, so I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't think you Russell Wilson square. You know what I'm saying? But you said you're worse. So I don't know what I can put on the list.
Am I worse than Russell Wilson? I don't think I'm worse than Russell Wilson.
You said you made it seem like you were. I would use the word square to describe you.
Russell Wilson is in his own category of square. Like he is his own type of square.
He's in that Kanye West square. Like him and Kanye like in that same column.
I lived a very reserved childhood.
All right, man. I get it. I get it. Man. I get it.
I didn't know how to hop a fence when I was a kid. I still can't swim. There's just some things I didn't know how to do.
The swimming thing has nothing to do with shelter. That's just being black. I do know how to swim. I know how to swim because my parents from the islands and my dad got that thought process of these kids gonna learn how to swim. We just gonna throw them in the pool. So I get it. I'm a little bit different, but most of us don't know how to swim. So that's why when one of us says hey, like we can swim, gotta ask like, you mean can you black swim or can you regular swim? So. Yeah, the swimming thing, I'm not going to give you too much pressure for. But
I'm also 6'3", JT, so I don't really need to know how to swim.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yeah, your ass fall off a boat, you're going to need to learn how to swim, right?
I've never been to the beach.
What you do? Hey, man, look. Hey, for everybody watching this, we're gonna help Marcus have the best summer ever. So please DM, comment what he should be doing. We need to get this man at the house. He need a lifeline. We need to get him to have some fun.
Bro, dang. I go to work and I come home. And there's an occasional adventure here and there to places that like I've been before, like a basketball game or something.
Nah, Russ, you're right. Russ not this bad. We got work to do, y'all. We got work to do. We need to help this man out.
All right. Well, we're gonna make this an official like network thing. Mike, Corey, Bert, Germ, Don, you guys send a list of stuff to do to JT and we'll put it together and we'll start knocking the stuff off the list. If there's any of you at home on YouTube or Facebook that think there's things I should do that I haven't done, you drop it in the comments and we'll We'll put a list together, and it'll be like we'll create my own little side quest thing for the
Please.
summer between now and Labor Day. And
we need help him
This is
ASAP, bro.
hilarious.
You can't go another summer like this.
I can. I've gone through 19 summers like this. I can make it a 20th.
Bro, we can't allow that no more. Sorry. That ship has sailed.
Oh,
I would. I'm saying it like you know what that means. You probably don't even know what that means either. But yeah, but back to what we was originally talking about. My Heat in 6 for everything that we talked about. I think if we could keep them out of the pick and roll with Jamal Murray, I think that's going to be huge for us. And the shooting is only going to get better. I think it was a perfect storm game 1. We just finished this grueling series with Boston, only to get on a plane and go play in Denver when they've been, resting. Jokic has been on the couch just eating for a week, just being ready for this moment. So I think we'll get him in 6, and you said we'll get him in 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Yeah,
right.
I think at this point we're looking at 6. Originally, I thought 7.
Any chance it's 5?
If the Heat win game 3 and 4, I think it could be 5. Honestly, because I don't know simply because I don't know if, and this is no shot at the Nuggets, just because like you said, like we haven't really seen the Nuggets in this position often. I don't know if the Nuggets have the mental fortitude to deal with losing three straight games. I don't think they have it.
I'll do you one better, and I'm gonna repeat this because I said this on our show before the final started when we were still playing in the Boston series. If they lose in a 5-game series, like they lose in 5 games, it'll be because of Malone. And I feel like
I think that's fair.
It's gonna be because of Malone. Because first of all, Spo is just the GOAT. Like it's him, Popovich, and Kerr. Like that's like the coaching hierarchy in the league. And like,
sure.
Who am I to say Spo's not number 1? But I feel like Mike Malone, when your team has been dominating, going out of your way to call people out and say like, "Oh, we're not getting the respect we deserve." Shut up! Like you are begging to get your ass out coached by Spo. Like you should just be quiet, be humble, and just be like, "All right, we're just gonna put our head down and go to work." Like you gotta motivate dudes that this is their first time to the finals. Like that's terrible. But I don't think he's the best coach in this situation to go against Spo. Like that's what it's gonna come down to.
I don't think so either. I think depending on now, I don't know because this is their first time. I don't think he'll be fired.
No,
he won't be fired. But I do think that this series, depending on how it goes, especially if it ends in 5, I think he's on the hot seat for sure.
I don't. As long as Jokic is there and he's okay with it, Malone will be fine. Unless they have some epic collapse where, like, let's say they don't make the playoffs next year, or like they're a play-in team, then you got to start looking at it. But as long as
they don't make the playoffs, but I think if you start looking at the Denver Nuggets, if they fall into that
Phoenix Suns
thing of like you've made the finals and now you can't get back type of thing, and it's not because you're not good enough, but because you're not executing and it's not a player thing, then you would come to that point. So Mike Malone, he's been there for a while. He's one of the longest tenured head coaches in the league as far as being with one.
But that should tell you that Denver runs their operation a little bit different. I don't think.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point. I feel like sometimes when success is uncharted territory, maybe people panic. But I feel like Denver's got a plan. Like they're like Utah. Like Utah just they stick with the process. Everything's a slow build. I think Denver's kind of in that same boat.
I agree. I 100% agree. The difference is the Denver Nuggets have postseason and regular season success, not just the regular season success that the Utah Jazz had for the last 4 or 5 years.
Can we admit this on this show? Because I think it's funny I haven't gotten this guy on a show to talk about this since it happened. But can we admit on camera that Jokic should be the MVP of the league? He should be 3-time MVP, right?
No, he shouldn't be.
That's why I can't deal with y'all, man.
He should have. If he should have been the MVP, he would have won the MVP. What do you mean?
Because everybody want to cry about, Joel Embiid hasn't gotten one. We need to get him one. He deserves it.
Bro, the MVP is like it's like.
Go ahead, devalue the MVP. First of all, the funniest thing in the playoffs though. This is, I don't know if you've noticed this. I don't know. You seem pretty plugged in on Twitter, right? Like you use Twitter, you're reading stuff. It's so funny that everybody cried for Joel Embiid to get this MVP. All of a sudden, all these polls come out of like who the players think should have the MVP. I never heard of this shit. It's like, oh, all the players think Joel Embiid's the clear MVP, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as we get to the playoffs, the same players, every player on Twitter, Jokic is the GOAT. He's generational. He's an all-time great. Like, he really should have won the MVP. It just shows you players will suck up whoever's the flavor of the month, man. Like, it's always been Jokic. Jokic's been doing this, but everybody called it boring because it looked so easy to him. And I'm sorry, where was Joel Embiid? He didn't do shit. They at home as usual. Give that man the MVP. Just like they should give Reggie Bush back his Heisman, give Nikola Jokic back his MVP because Joel Embiid stole that shit.
I think you're comparing apples and oranges. I just think the MVP is it's like the popular girl at school. Like, she's gonna make.
Go ahead, Russ. Explain this. I gotta hear this analogy.
Way around to all the players on the football team, and they all know that like it's just their turn. It was just Embiid's turn this time. That's all.
No, I don't think Jokic was done. He had another round left in him. That he should have been a 3-time MVP, man.
Nah, bro. Nah. If you're making the case that Nikola Jokic should have been a 3-time MVP, then I can make the case that LeBron James should have been the first person ever to win.
I'm not going to disagree with you. LeBron should have many more MVPs, just like Kobe should have many more MVPs. I get it, but it's not.
MVP and LeBron should be 5 in a row.
But it's not. It's not. It's not the most valuable person that's never won an MVP. It's who's the best player. Give it to that person.
Well, I think you also can't deny though that in head-to-head matchups this season, Embiid owned Nikola Jokic.
But you know what though? Obviously, that doesn't matter because we're looking at a sample size. If it was just one game, Jeremy Lin would be an MVP. Like we're like, head-to-head, like Jeremy Lin, like he killed everybody.
There were 3 games that they played that he owned and didn't just play better than him, like dropped 50 in a game against him.
Okay, but you out like Jokic ain't out here giving people 20, 10, and 15 on a slow night. Like that's what I'm saying. And guess what? Fine. Like I feel like what he did last year, no doubt about it, MVP. Because that team was ass last year. Like they were.
I agree.
And this year, I feel like
the 2 MVPs he won, he deserved.
And he deserved this one. This was an elite year. Do I think Joel Embiid? Do I think he deserved to win it too? Absolutely. I think it was much closer this year than it was the previous year. But I'm sorry. Like this is why I hate when they give out the award before the playoffs because playoffs do matter. Like,
no, they don't. Right? It's a regular season award.
And he bust ass during the regular season too.
I'm not saying he doesn't. I think the Jokic Embiid MVP thing this season is the same as the Harden Antetokounmpo MVP when Antetokounmpo won his first one. Like it's just it could have gone either way, and your guy didn't get it, and you're just not happy about it. It's okay.
It's not that I'm not happy. It's just everybody's. This is what I didn't like. Everybody cried and screamed as if like, how dare you say Jokic is better than Embiid? Like it's not even close. Look, the players say he's better. Look, everything he does is so much sexier. It's not boring. Like bullshit. This man is a walking triple double.
Look, we can sit here and we can argue semantics. And we can.
Who would you have voted for if you had a vote?
I would have voted for Joel Embiid. He's the better.
We can't talk.
He was the better player this season on both sides of the ball. Joel Embiid's a better defensive player than Nikola Jokic is by life.
I know that. Okay.
Okay, great. And he was a better offensive player than Nikola Jokic was this season.
That's debatable.
It's debatable, but the fact that you can have the debate gives weight to Embiid's MVP case. Why he deserves it.
So make him the defensive player of the year.
He wasn't a better defensive player this year than Jaren Jackson.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson is a funny guy to me. That's a conversation for another show. Jaren Jackson is a very funny player to me, but I think he got potential. Get the hell out of Memphis, bro.
He should get out of Memphis. I think he should
come to Miami.
This show was on pace to go for 45 minutes, and then you shamed me for 15 about my lackluster.
You did this to yourself.
You shamed me for 15 minutes about my lackluster life experiences. Anyway, though, it is always a pleasure to have JT on the show. Don, if you're watching, come back, please, so I can have a conversation with a sane human being and we can have actual intellectual discourse about this.
There's no fun in that.
There's no fun in having
no fun in that. I told you before we started the show, get your shit together because we're gonna have a crazy show.
I've got nothing left for you. Next week we'll be back with another WNBA episode. And the week after that is Money in the Banks. We'll be back with my guy Sal Vassallo to talk Money in the Bank. So for JT, one half of the crew at JT and the Don, this is Marcus of Go Talk Marcus signing off. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, you guys enjoy the rest of your lives.